Welcome everybody to the Fanmouth Daily Fantasy Baseball Breakdown for Thursday, June the 26th. I'm Joe Marsh here by myself today. Before we get started, big shout out to Team USA taking on Germany today. First, we'll jump right into a little fantasy baseball now, talking about the 7 o'clock Eastern time and later games. Got 8 of them going on tonight, so we'll go through. I'll give you my picks. Help you build your lineup a little bit. Now, for pitcher, there's not much depth at pitcher tonight, so I think you're going to need to stick near the top of the price chart. For me, Cole Hamels is the top option. He's given up 3 earned runs total over his last 5 starts. He's averaging 8 strikeouts per start over that span. And he's facing the Marlins. It's a pretty good time to go against the Marlins. They haven't been good in June. They have the most strikeouts in the league. They're 25th in hitting, 28th in home runs. So it's a good combination of a hot pitcher facing a cold offense. Now, I also like Adam Wainwright a bit. He's only allowed 3 earned runs over his last 3 starts. He's pitched well on the road this year. He's got a 1.50 ERA and a 1.97 batting average against. He's facing the Dodgers, who are a good offense, but they're a bit beat up. They're without Hanley Ramirez and a few others. So I think it's a good spot for Wainwright. The lower options I'm not too crazy about. I mean, I kind of like Tom Kohler, but he's going up against Hamels, so I don't think that's a great play to put those two in there together. Vance Worley's decent, but that looks a little risky to me. So I'm probably going to play it a bit safe and spend some money at pitcher and look to save money elsewhere. Back behind the plate, I'm going to be targeting Christian Friedrich today. He's a guy with a career ERA over 6, a career batting average against over 3. He's made 1 start this year. He gave up 9 runs. That was his first start since 2012. You look at Lucroy, he's hitting 349 in the month of June. He's only had 4 games in June where he didn't have a hit. Hits well against lefties, got a 324 average, so he's a real standout. You want to go cheaper. I also like Blue Jays. We'll get into that a bit, but Navarro is a solid play there. Then over at first base, we'll talk about some Blue Jays. They're at home, which is a good place to start them, facing a weak righty. He's got a 4.70 ERA on the road. He's equally bad against righties and lefties, so I think that makes it a good spot for Encarnacion. He's hot right now. 12 hits his last 7 games. With 4 home runs in that span. 20 of his home runs have come against righties. 13 of his home runs have come at home. So he's great. Adam Lind, if you want to go cheaper, hitting 327 in June. He crushes right-handed pitching. He's hitting 366 with all 4 of his home runs against righties. Now, the other guys to consider at first base, some very solid plays. Abreu, Miguel Cabrera, Victor Martinez. One of them obviously can go in your utility spot. But, I mean, that's 4 solid guys, very pricey guys. I think you should get 2 of them in your lineup, even with the high-priced pitchers, and look to save money elsewhere. Speaking of saving money, right to second base. It's not a good night for second base. I think you should spend elsewhere. Jeanette would be a good play, but there's a lefty on the mound. He's on fire, but, he's typically not in the lineup against left-handers. I would go Gordon Beckham here. I think he's a solid play against Happ. Happ's a lefty who gives up a 301 batting average to righties. Beckham's a righty who's hitting 373 against lefties. But I'm probably going to save even more than that. There's nothing that I like right now, but I'm going to check. We're going to wait for the lineups and see if someone is hitting near the top of the lineup. That's a cheap play that I can punt. That's probably where I'm going to end up going at second base. Over at third base, back to the Brewers, Aramis Ramirez is another very hot hitter. 11 hits and 2 home runs in his last 7 games. He crushes left-handed pitching, hitting 326 with 5 home runs in 43 at-bats. That's a little over 1 home run every 9 at-bats. Shortstop, so similar to second base, there aren't many great options. I think for the high end, Reyes is the top play. He's hitting 308 at home. He's hit all of his home runs off of righties, but this is probably another place to go cheap. I like Suarez of the Tigers. Otherwise, I'll probably use the same strategy I used at second base, where it'll just be, if someone's hitting near the top of the lineup and is a cheap play, I'll use them in my lineup today. Then to the outfield, there are a couple good low-priced outfield. There's some good high-priced options as well. My top play of the day, regardless of position, is JD Martinez. He's absolutely on fire. Hit another home run last night. That's 6 in the month of June. right in the middle of a 14-game hitting streak. To me, he's a must-play, still at a very good price. I think you start your lineup today by putting him in. A couple other cheap options, Gregory Polanco, hitting very well, 383 against righties, facing Matsuzaka. I think that's a very solid play. And then Tyler Colvin is, if you're a BVP person, a very good play. He's dirt cheap. 4 home runs in 19 at-bats against Mike Leake, hitting 368 against him. Obviously, he's not, a great hitter, but that's a a pretty solid track record for a small sample size. If you want to go more expensive, obviously I'd go back to the Blue Jays with Cabrera or Bautista, or to the Brewers with Gomez or Chris Davis. You can maybe even throw in Ryan Braun, but he would be my last choice on that list. If you find you have a little money, you want a little beef in your outfield, I think those guys are solid plays as well. That pretty much wraps it up. So quick recap. Hamels and Wainwright, I think, are the way to go. First base, I'm pretty sure this is where your utility is going to come from. Between Encarnacion, Abreu, Martinez, Cabrera, try to get 2 of those guys in if you can. If not, Adam Lind is a decent option as well. Second and short are going to be spots to punt. And then again, some good cheap outfielders. Must start JD Martinez. Gregory Polanco is good. And then if you want, you can always go with your Brewers and Blue Jays there. That wraps it up. I will be back tomorrow. In the meantime, you can check out my rankings at blog.fanmouth.com. You can follow us on Twitter at PlayFanmouth. Go Team USA.